Hello everyone, this is Rio Ray Fresher. It is Friday, November 24th, 2017, and I'm here today to address an issue that I think that needs addressing, and it's about this resist movement that I see going on. I see bumper stickers all over Boulder on different cars, and I know some of it is, in resistance to Trump, which I think is silly, basically, because he is our president, so it makes sense to give him that energy of support so that he can make better decisions. And I think people are mostly in resistance because of, at least where he's concerned, some of the choices he's made as president of what he's implementing. But I'll tell you, he is draining the swamp. And he's largely very misrepresented by the media. And I'll get into that a little later. So, I'm going to mention several quotes today. The first quote I want to mention is Tesla's, where he said, to understand the secrets of the universe, you need to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And he, as well as other scientists, understand that the energy, the scalar energy, which is what Tesla discovered, is underlying everything. And what I have come to understand and been able to articulate is that the symposium that happened back in the 50s, I can't remember where it happened, but I believe that Einstein was present for this. It was the whole particle and wave thing, and what happened was, if you read up on this, basically what they found was the field of consciousness, and this field of consciousness can be programmed. And this is what was not revealed to the general public by the results of this particle guy seeing a wave, or maybe it was vice versa, but basically because he used his will and intended to see a wave, being a particle guy, that's why he saw the wave. And that's how this subatomic particle can either be a particle or a wave, depending on what's intended to be seen. And that is, again, using our intention to program the field of consciousness that is literally everywhere. That's what I think is also called ether. So, one thing to understand is that the Cabal, Archons, Illuminati, whatever label you want to call them, the people on the darker path, they know all of this. They know what they're doing as far as manipulating us to stay in fear so that they can harvest this energy to further their agendas, further their own lifespans, because they live on this negative energy. So to address resistance just begets more resistance. If you follow the law of attraction, which I have for many years now, and only recently have been able to overcome my own fear and resistance, and trusting in my own intuitive guidance, as well as having faith that being a child of God, I'm always taken care of. I've been living that way for the last few years now, and it works. So my best source for learning about the law of attraction and how to use it is Abraham through Esther Hicks. And Jerry is no longer around, but he was Esther's partner for many years, and he would ask the questions, and then Abraham would answer through Esther. So she has proved to be a very good source for that information. And you can find a lot of those videos on YouTube, and I even have some in one of my favorites playlists. So now I'm going to jump to free will and explain to you what free will really means. It doesn't mean being able to do whatever you want. That it's true in a sense, but what people don't understand is that there's another choice that comes before the action that we take when we have a thought. So we have a thought, and I know from a quote that I heard earlier this month that there was someone else who understands this space also. He said that between the thought that we have and the action that we take on the thought, there's a space. And that space is where free will exists. It consists of two choices, love or fear. That's the basis of free will. You know, free will gets thrown around so much, but people don't really know what it means because they're not utilizing their free will. If they understood what free will really means and understood the laws of attraction like those darker people do, they'd be able to break out of the matrix, so to speak. So when resistance is given, the law of attraction says you get back what you give out. So you're going to get back resistance, and that resistance is going to come from the cabal. Let's just use that term for now, for simplicity's sake. So that's why it makes no sense to be in resistance, because the more you give, the more you get back, and then it shows up in your own life as resistance. You're being constantly bombarded with resistance from other people, or having, just that's how you make obstacles for yourself. So basically, to get out of that, what I found was finding the neutral observer within yourself is crucial to letting go of that energy and coming to a neutral space so that you can see a greater vision of whatever situation you might be in. Fear always comes up because we don't understand what's facing us. And really there is nothing to fear, because all you have to do is take a little time, do a little digging or research, and know what it is that you're dealing with so that you can have a better understanding of what you're dealing with, and then the action to take. And understanding that free will choice will help you make a better choice. And you make a better choice based on how you feel about it. We do not acknowledge how important feelings are in discernment. Discernment is really the essence of making a choice that's going to best serve our own needs as well as the needs of the people around us. So it's being considerate, taking that into account. If we are in a situation with other people, the best choice is going to be the win-win choice, and that will be the choice out of love. It will feel the best. And you're going to have to, practice this to some degree to really get it, to see how it works, and to feel what it's like to make a choice out of love versus a choice out of fear. The fear choice is always going to feel heavier. Maybe there'll be some anxiety around it, maybe some worry. That's the worst place to make a choice from, because that's what's going to get you the lesson. I don't want to misuse karma here, because karma shows you where you made your choice from, and it's either going to, if you made the choice out of love, you're going to experience a lot of synchronicity. If you made the choice out of fear, you're going to get the proverbial lesson, because that was the mistake you made on the energy that you were feeling. The energy is a guidepost as to where we're about to make our choice from. So if you can remember that you never want to make a choice out of fear, you can stop and take a deep breath through your nose and hopefully center yourself, get some more information if you need to, and then think about what a better choice would be that feels better, that would be win-win for everybody included. So resistance only gets you more resistance. And the next quote I want to insert here is the one from Buckminster Fuller. Now, Buckminster Fuller was around when Tesla was still alive, and also Einstein. He didn't die until 1983, and I believe he was born at the end of the 1800s. So he was an inventor, an architect, and according to Wikipedia, he had a major event experience happen in his life that showed him that he wanted to make life better for everybody. So his quote is, and it's roughly this, it's not an exact quote: "You don't resist the existing system. You create something new that will make the existing system obsolete." And I'll tell you right now, that has already been done with the republic that is about to get rolled out by our government as a replacement of the supposed democratic system that we have now that really just supports. It's a subject used to, while you think it's a good thing to have the majority win, what happens to all the losers, right? They don't get their needs met. And it's really, the people with the most power that make the decisions. So with a republic, every choice is honored. And I encourage you to look up the word republic. Can't tell you right now what it is, but that's something you can do on your own. I look up a lot of words these days just to get an understanding of, increase my own vocabulary and understand what I'm reading about. So the whole resistance psyop is what the deep state or the cabal is using to try to undermine Trump. And I'll tell you, Liz Crokin, I listened to a video and interview of her not too long ago, and I'll post as much as I can under this video of sources that you can follow up on, and for what I've talked about here. She says that way before Trump became president, she had interviewed him many times over the last decade or so, and she says he's a good guy, he's a nice guy. So I know that our media has been have portrayed him in a much worse light than he really is. And I would just encourage people, if they can't prove that to themselves, to just keep an open mind. I cite here the movie Forrest Gump. If you watch that movie, what's revealed in that movie is technology that was used to put Gump in a video where, obviously Tom Hanks was not the person in this video, but his face was put in place of the person that was in the video to make it look like he was meeting with, I believe it was it Nixon or whatever, President LBJ or whatever. I think it was Nixon. Anyway, so that technology exists. There are people who have the ability to tear apart a video and insert anyone's face they wanted that will logically fit and make it look like they're actually the person in the video when it's really someone different. So I know that this technology has been used to manipulate our congressmen and our president to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. They've been blackmailed. And a lot of this is going to come out in the whole pedogate thing that will eventually come out so that everybody sees the truth about that. But that's one of the tactics that they've used. So it's kind of counterproductive because he is our president. It makes sense to give him the supportive energy that he needs from us to help him make better decisions, to actually support him. It does no good to resist him once he's already in office. He's not going to get impeached. He was chosen to take this position because of the money that he has, because that means he can't be bought. He can still be blackmailed, and I believe he probably has been. But he's done his own little thing with his power of investigation, him and Jeff Sessions, that I've read recently about them doing the biggest sting in history to flush out all of these cabal members that are in our government in high places, and to continue to drain the swamp, and because that's just too big. They'd have to admit much more is going on, and it's huge. It all ties together. And that's the whole Pedogate thing's not going to break loose until we also have disclosure, because it involves ETs that have been in charge of our planet for way longer than we've been here. So there's a whole history that the 90% of the American public is largely unaware of, and it has to trickle out, because to get it all at once would be just too much. It would fry people, and there would be utter chaos because people wouldn't know what to do. So this is all being strategically orchestrated so that a little comes out at one time, and they are gradually draining this swamp of all of the evil, really, that's been perpetrated on the American public. And but it has to be done in stages so that people get a little information at a time and can piece things together on their own with the help of people like me and people like Justin Deschamps of Stillness in the Storm, and David Wilcock, all of these people who have knowledge of the bigger picture. And I feel like I'm a person, because I study all this stuff, and I have been for many years now, that I've been able to connect a lot of dots. And so I'll be able to explain to people what has happened, and why it's important right now to maintain a neutral stance on everything. Just keep an open mind about everything, so you don't go through too much cognitive dissonance, because you're going to hear things that aren't going to resonate, and it's only because you don't have enough information that it's not going to resonate. It doesn't mean that it's not true. It's just not true for you because you don't have the right information to incorporate this truth into your own truth. So, what else do I have here? Forrest Gump, Buckminster Fuller. Oh, and Einstein's quote, yes. So the whole tone of resistance doesn't work because it's still using negative energy to try to change something. And Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it. And that means when you have a problem, let's just say for simplicity's sake, the problem is going to be a lower vibration. The solution to that problem is always going to be at a higher vibration. So in order to see that solution, or hear it, or feel it, or whatever, you have to raise your consciousness to that level of vibration and frequency where the solution is, in order to see it and to implement it. Resistance, the energy of resistance is not going to allow that. And that brings us back to what Buckminster Fuller said. Right now, the most viable solution that I see to replace the system that we have right now is Ubuntu, and I encourage you to check that out. Go to michaeltellinger.com. He was here back at the end of May here in Boulder. He did a U.S.-European tour, and for about 3 hours we sat and listened to him talk about his journey and how he discovered Ubuntu and you know, how it started and everything in between to where he is now. And actually Walsenburg, Colorado is going to be one of the first small town sites to implement Ubuntu. They got the mayor on board, and so it has started. And there are all kinds of pockets of positive stuff like Ubuntu happening. So basically the premise of Ubuntu, it is a way of living that has been done for thousands of years. We've just gotten away from it. It's how many tribes live and live in harmony with each other and the earth. And basically everyone has something to contribute. There wouldn't be anybody here that didn't have something of value that they came with to contribute. And that includes everybody you see on the street that's homeless or a vagabond or whatever negative name you want to slap on people that, you know, aren't doing as great as the rest of us. And they all have value as well. So the community is built upon a circle of elders, and the elders are the ones who make the final choice of what goes into building the community. But if it doesn't support everybody, it doesn't get done, period. So it utilizes everyone's innate talents that they're born with, as well as skills that they've picked up through secondary learning, self-education, college, things like that. And we contribute a very small, compared to what we do now, a very small amount of time, 3 hours a week, toward building the community of our dreams, building things that work for everybody. Now, the irony of this is that it takes a lot of money to start this kind of project, to build the infrastructure that's needed to support it. A lot of it already exists, and the basis of it is going to be free energy, so that nobody has to pay for any kind of heating or electric, stuff like that. So all of that has to be built. But eventually, and you're growing your own food too. Eventually, because this is about not just sustainable living, but living in abundance. You're able to have enough left over to share with people, and charge a lot less than maybe even Amazon, because they don't have to travel, or you just sell to people in the outlying communities that aren't involved in Ubuntu. And eventually, you don't need money to live. I see that as being a little bit far down the road, because before that, we're all going to have all the money we need, and we're not going to see that though until the GSR, the RV is released, the reevaluation of currencies that's happened, and the taking back of all of the money that was illegally stolen from us through the IRS and illegal taxation and all that stuff. So all this is going to come out. But anyway, I want to encourage people to just notice when they're in resistance to something. And you'll know because you won't feel good about it. And tell yourself whatever you need to about that situation that will allow you to let go of the resistance. A lot of times it's going to be, I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. Our mind will make all kinds of assumptions, and a lot of us buy into that, our own BS, because we don't really know unless we ask questions, right? And too few of us don't ask enough questions about what's going on and what the truth is. We have allowed ourselves to become sheep, to be led by the media because we want to trust that what they say is true, when it's been proven over and over and over again. If you look on the internet and alternative media, there are plenty of videos where they have lied openly about stuff, or they've been found to be in a lie. And also, the misrepresentation of people like Trump, and the deep state doesn't like him because he's actually doing a really good job right now, so take that into account. You've got to be able to read between the lines sometimes or know what's going on a larger scale, and many of us don't. So that's part of the problem. We've got to re-educate ourselves, people. Use the internet. It's a great resource tool, and you will find more truth on the internet than you will on TV. And stop watching TV. Stop giving energy to that also. There are better things to do with our time than sit and listen and be kept in fear about all the atrocities that are going on all over the planet. There's a lot being lied about, and that's all going to come out. But this is really about letting go of that energy of resistance and focusing more on just what we can do to keep ourselves happy, keep ourselves in a good alignment with our core selves, and that means feeling good. You've got to care about how you feel. That's really important. If you don't care about how you feel, you're going to be easily manipulated and easily led. And they're doing that right now through this, fear operation. So, but that's nothing new. All right, well, I think that covers it. I hope you understand how your energy of resistance is being used against you. And hopefully enough of you care about changing that to make a bigger difference. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed your turkey day yesterday. Namaste. Aloha.